Hi, how you doing? Got my toy. Hi, welcome to this video. I just wanted to make a video about what it's like to be trans, what it's like to live in this body, what is, the experience, you get it? Put some more understanding out there. New setup, Obby. So now I can sit instead of stand. So that's nice. I had the fan on, but my fan has actually overheated. So excuse me if I am a sweaty mess in this video. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I don't know when I'm gonna put this video out. I did record my 6 months on T video, but if you see this before, because it might be shorter, I'm 6 months on T. It's the 30th of June. No, oh my god, it's the 1st of July. What am I talking about? It's July. It's the 1st of July, which means I am 6 months and like a couple of weeks on T. Alright, so what do I mean by gender dysphoria? In the UK, to medically transition, which would involve any medical intervention to relieve gender dysphoria, so like hormone replacement therapy, which is what I'm on HRT, and surgeries and such, like top surgery or bottom surgery or facial feminization surgery, stuff like that. It's all, to be able to access any of that, you need to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is a state of severe distress or unhappiness caused by feeling that one's gender identity does not match one's sex assigned registered at birth. I thought it said assigned, it says registered. So stress because your gender and your sex don't align, which is also basically the definition of trans people. A trans person's sex and gender do not align. Sex being one thing, as in all the biological factors about your body, like vagina, ovaries, chromosomes, hormones that are running your body, all those things, all biological sex. And gender identity being a separate thing to that, being how you present, how you see yourself regardless of what your sex is. It my god, I can't speak. It just so happens that most people's sex and gender do align. Most people who are female, most people who are assigned female at birth are women. Most people who are male, assigned male at birth, are men. That just so happens how the world works. But we have some people like me who are trans, where I was born a female, I was assigned female at birth. However, my gender identity is not a woman. I'm not a woman. I'm a man. That makes me a trans man. The gender dysphoria is the stress that comes with that. Some people in the community do have issues with the term and diagnosis of gender dysphoria. I am one of those people, but that's a video for another day. And so we are moving towards another definition, which is gender incongruence. I'll get that. I don't like this definition. I'm going to use the definition that a doctor gave me. Yeah, I don't like this definition. That definition is the exact same as gender dysphoria, but they're not the same thing. So in the UK, we're moving towards being diagnosed with gender incongruence as well as gender dysphoria, with the hope that we can only use the term gender incongruence, which is when your sex and your gender don't align. And the difference between gender dysphoria and gender incongruence, which is what my doctor told me, by doctor I mean a psychologist, that's who has to diagnose you. My psychologist said that gender incongruence is without the stress. So gender dysphoria highlights the fact that you're stressed, you have discomfort, you're uncomfortable with the fact that these two things don't align. Whereas incongruence, there's no stress involved. It's just plain and simple, they don't align, which I much prefer that. I have both diagnoses. I have the diagnosis of gender incongruence and gender dysphoria. My first psychologist said that I have both, and I fit the description of both. So what does that mean? What does that mean, gender dysphoria? So that's the whole dysphoria. When it comes to more specific things, you could feel dysphoria in specific parts of your body. So a trans person might say, oh, I'm feeling dysphoric today about my chest. I am having that stress, that distress, that uncomfortable feeling about my chest. We would refer to that as like chest dysphoria or voice dysphoria if I'm feeling discomfort or stress about my voice, stuff like that. So the dysphoria could be located in different parts of your body. Gender dysphoria is the whole thing. It's all of my gender being misaligned with my sex, all of that. And yeah, so what's that like? You may hear some trans people say that like they were born in the wrong body. You may hear other people describe trans people as that way. Or you just like, you may hear like some people say, I wasn't born in the wrong body. It just needed some upgrades. That's kind of how I see it. But like my day to day would look like me waking up. Like I'll explain it in the summer because like it's really hot right now. Like right now, I'm feeling dysphoric about my chest. So I'm feeling uncomfortable about my boobies right now because I can feel the boob sweat underneath, which makes me hyper aware of the boob sweat. And ladies, anyone who has boobs, we all know that boob sweat is not fun. But where we differ, your boob sweat might be a little bit uncomfortable because it feels horrible against your skin and it's hot and it's nasty, whereas my boob sweat highlights the fact that I have boobs and I don't want them. I don't want them. I was gonna say I don't like them. They're all right. I have no feelings towards them, but like I don't want them on my body. And I'm gonna use my own experience now, like purely for this. When I'm walking around the day, I have an image of myself. When I look in the mirror, I have an expectation of what I'm supposed to see back, looking back at me. And for the longest time, what's looking back at me isn't what I'm seeing in my head, isn't the self-image. I say for the longest time as in before I started taking testosterone. So I would look in the mirror and I would expect to see just some black dude, like a bloke, you know what I mean? And I look and I don't see a bloke because blokes don't have soft features, long hair, you know, higher pitched voice. Blokes usually don't have any of that stuff. Some do, but mostly that's not how you would look and identify a dude on the street. And now that I'm on testosterone, my body starts to change. My body is starting to change. My voice is changing. My face has changed. And I look in the mirror and some days I actually do start to see the person looking back at me match the image, my self-image in my brain. So that's how I walk around and that's how my gender dysphoria manifests. I just think of myself and not like, I don't know how to explain it, but not in a, I guess, forceful way. Can you see the sweat? Not in a forceful way, but like if you told me to draw a picture of myself, I would draw a stereotypical man, like a stereotypical black dude, flat chest, handsome like me, you know, maybe a little bit of facial hair, muscle definition, quite a straight body. That's how I would draw myself if you asked me to, and like I closed my eyes, you know. So that's what I expect to see in the mirror, and yeah, I don't. Or for example, I might be walking around town and then again it's not a conscious thing. It's not like, oh, I have this image in my head and it looks like a man, but when I look in the mirror I don't see a man. It's not like that. It's more like if you delved into my subconscious and pulled an image of me out of my subconscious, the image would look like any other dude on the street. That's what I mean. And so I'm walking around with this idea in my head of what my body looks like, who I am, how I present myself, which is in very manly ways, because I'm fucking, in masculine ways, you know, I dress masculine. I sound a bit more masculine now. I mean, I know I just didn't sound that, but I got excited. But I sound a bit more masculine now because of testosterone, but like, am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. And I'm losing my train of thought as I speak. And I'm trying to find it back. And I don't know if I'm finding it, if I'm bringing it back. I need my fidget toy. I need to stay on track. Yeah, so I might catch my reflection and then I see in my reflection, oh no, my tits, because I'm wearing a bra. I don't wear bras anymore, but like before I started taking testosterone, I might be wearing a bra. And, you know, my boobs are boobing, they're there. I look and I catch my reflection and it quite literally is like, oh my God, who is that? Like I look at my reflection and it's just like, what am I seeing? Because I have this image of my head and I look in the reflection for a split second and it doesn't even look like me. That's what it's like for me anyways with gender dysphoria. And that's literally what incongruent means. Like there's an incongruence with what's going on in here and what is going on out there, as in the reflection, in the mirror and stuff. That kind of stuff is also heightened when other people see you as the gender you're not. So for example, before testosterone, obviously I presented as a woman. Or I'll use a recent example. I went to a football game the other day and this was, maybe I was 5 months on T. I think I'm sitting in a very androgynous zone. So I don't think people look at me and think I'm a man. I am passing, but what I think is happening is that people look at me, can't quite tell I'm a man or a woman, and they're like, I don't know what you are, and then they use other external factors to determine what I am and whether or not I'm a man or woman. For example, when I speak, so I can't see it happening on my face because it's not a conscious act, but I can tell that is what's happening because how they default. So for example, if I have jewelry on, like earrings, but I look like this, people will usually gender me as a woman. But when I don't have earrings, and they'll be like, hi miss, how can I help you? If I don't have earrings in, they gender me as a man. So honestly, I can tell immediately that people are using other factors about me and how I look that day, whether I've got some earrings, because obviously they're feminine or something. Or maybe how I'm dressed and they gender me accordingly. But this day I was wearing earrings and I was wearing dangly earrings too, which obviously men can't wear dangly earrings, don't be ridiculous. So I was at a football match and I was buying one of those foam fingers and the person was like, hi miss, how can I help you? Or hi miss, what would you like? Either way they said miss. And up until this point, not consciously, I'm walking around the station and this before I get to the stadium, like the road, I'm walking around town feeling like a dude, being a dude, just a dude. Like it's not conscious and you don't think about your gender that much in the day. But then this man calls me, or what I assume to be a man anyways, but this man calls me miss, and that directly contradicts how I see myself. I was expecting anyone who sees me or like addresses me and doesn't know me to say sir or mister, because that's how I see myself. And so when they don't do that, there's an incongruence there. Let me get the definition of incongruence. Incongruence is a state of being inconsistent, unsuitable, or not fitting well with something else, which makes sense. I couldn't remember the full definition there. So there is an incongruence there. It doesn't fit. What this man saw me as didn't fit what I am and what I see myself as. So, and that's what it's like. That's what it's like. Like if I'm walking around my house, I'm gonna take my top off because it's hot. You know what I mean? So like that's what I do when I take my top off, you know. You can see all that shit and stuff like that. You can see what's going on down there. Or like even just when I run down the stairs, because like sometimes I'd be running to get something, you know, they jump about. All the people with boobs understand, they jump about. And so that makes me aware of them. If I'm just kind of going about my day, like if I stay really still, but if I'm just going about my day, I kind of forget that I have boobs. Like to all the people who have boobs, are you aware of your boobs 100% of the time, 24 hours a day, 24/7? No, you're not. Neither am I. But when you're not aware of your boobs like that, and you don't you don't see yourself as even having them, genuinely, it sounds crazy, but genuinely, it's a jump scare when you see them. Like, it's actually a jump scare. And I'm not aware of it all the time, just like anyone else is, but also I have that added thing of not even feeling like it should be there. And yeah, that's how I feel. I just feel like that's kind of what it's like living with gender dysphoria. I hope that clears some stuff up a little. I hope you got some more understanding, you know, some more understanding. I kind of see it as just really extreme, I don't know what other word to use, but really extreme body dysmorphia. Like in the same way someone can look at their body and be like, oh my god, I'm so fat, when they're actually not even like fat or anything. I look at my body and it's just like, okay, that's not right. That's so weird. Like I thought my body looked like fucking Michael Jordan's, but here I am and it doesn't look like Michael Jordan at all. In fact, it's a whole female's body. Like, what is going on? You know, it's like a really weird version of body dysmorphia, and that's just how I see it. Like I don't really see it anyway that different, which is why I don't see it as like I was born in the wrong body. I don't feel like I can be born in the wrong body when I was like happily living my life as a woman for so long, and my body has served me well. I actually like my body, and I tell my therapist like a lot, like if my body was like copy and pasted onto a woman, I'd be like, that's a sexy body. Like, yeah, I just feel like it's a sexy body, but it's not my body. That's all, you know what I mean? And so I need to make a little adjustments. T does most of the adjustments. I could, it's the same examples about the chest dysphoria. I just use chest dysphoria as an example because it's hot and I've been thinking about it a lot these days, because it's sweaty and disgusting to bind when it's this hot in England right now. Binding is compressing your chest to make it look flatter, which alleviates dysphoria. It's easier to do that in the winter because, my chest dysphoria is nowhere near as bad in the winter. But another example could be voice dysphoria. I wouldn't say I have voice dysphoria, like, or anything like that. I'm not like, I wasn't uncomfortable with my voice. It didn't cause me stress before. It was on testosterone. I'll put a little clip.
We're seeing more. The 30th. I was like, what's the date today? It's the anniversary day. I am really weak. Still recovering from the food poisoning. So.
A comparison quickly of like what I sounded like pre-T, but like I wasn't. Pre-T is like pre-transition or pre-testosterone. But yeah, before testosterone, I wasn't really like phased. But some trans people do have voice dysphoria. For example, they might record a voice note and then when they listen to it back, they don't feel like that's their voice listening back. Like it's just like, who is this? In the same way where I caught my reflection in a like shop window, or my reflection in the mirror or something like that. It's just like, who the fuck is that looking back at me? It's like, who the fuck is that am I listening to? So I hope that helps you guys understand a little bit more about what it's like walking around day to day as a trans person with gender dysphoria, gender incongruence. You know, if you understand what is like a day in my life, then you might understand why it's important for trans people, i.e. me, to access HRT, anything in the medical transition roster of stuff. So yeah, testosterone, what I'm on right now, it alleviates some of that. Stuff like top surgery would alleviate chest dysphoria. I could talk forever, so I'm going to try and stop here. And I'm going to hope that my fan has cooled down so I can put it on. There's no breeze today, guys. So it's not even like the windows open aren't doing anything. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you in the fucking next one. See ya. Bye.